very basic drill that we did before. But what this drill does, and the reason why I had you guys do this drill last time, is it subconsciously teaches you three major concepts. So what we do is, just the first one is the evasion drill. When you're ever going to teach somebody as an instructor, we're going to plant our right foot, step forward with, plant our left foot, step forward with our right. So as I attack him, he's going to step back, and he's just going to evade. So he's just going to evade. This is called our, and then he's going to step forward. We'll do our evasion. This is called an evasion drill, and this is all we're going to, this is also very good to teach anybody that's going to do this kind of stuff. I can even do a number 1 or number 2. I can do number 3. I can do number 4. I can do number 5. And I can do number 6, so on and so forth. So this is our evasion drill. Then we have our parrying drill, attack with 1. Parrying drill, which is called a parrying drill. And again, I can do this drill with all of the numbers. If I come with the number 2, you can parry. I can come with number 1, that's fine. Okay, I can come with a number 3, you can parry, or 4, or a 5. So I can do all these drills the same way. Okay, so that basically, and then the same drill will add the blocking drill, which we're going to get a little bit closer. As you notice, we get a little bit closer to number 1. We'll do the blocking drill. Now, there's a reason. I'm also teaching you some subconscious things that your student can pick up, a student picks up. One of the subconscious things that they pick up is that this whole body motion, where the attack comes in, okay? And one of the things that I also teach is this palm down technique. I do it naturally so that it's built into them right away. I also teach, which is another principle, since you guys have done knife stuff, closest hand principle. It's already there, okay? Now this drill is where you are when you actually do your defense. This drill is only for that. It's not stepping back and forth. It's just to keep it. In other words, if I'm standing here and he attacks, I should be able to do this. This is where my positioning is right here. Even though I didn't go back and forth on this. The drill is to train each other. 10 evasions, which would be here. And believe me, it's going to get a little more intense in about a half an hour or so. Are you counting? Yes.
1, 2.
This evasion. 2, 3, and then I'm just going to go over it real fast. And then we'll do a block. And again, for people who haven't done this, it's very difficult for them to pick it up, especially if they're real klutzes. So we start from there. Grab a knife, let's get up and start doing this. Okay, let me grab one more time. We were doing the concepts of evasion, blocking, and target displacement. Now we're going to add a cut. So we're going to do that first drill that we did last time I was here. So we're going to do let's do the block, cut, parry, check. Everybody remember that drill? Block, cut, parry, check. Block, cut, parry, check. Block, cut, parry, check. There is a purpose for this, and the reason why I taught this to you folks in the first place, and now that some of you want to become instructors, I'll explain why we do this. The eyes are made up of rods and cones, and for some reason, the eye picks up arcing motions faster and easier than they pick up linear motions. In other words, this arcing motion here, this motion here, is easier to pick up than a linear motion like this. Okay? It's easier to pick up. So what happens is that when you start out with an arcing motion to teach a student, somebody, they can learn it faster. It's much more difficult to learn something that's coming straight at you like this than to see something coming straight at you. And that's the reason why I also teach the blocking method first. And if somebody says, well, you only got 8 hours with somebody to work with, then I will not teach them the parrying. I don't like teaching them the parrying because it's a little more difficult because you've got to add more evasion to it. You've got to add parrying and evasion. So basically, block, because it's an easier technique to teach, cut, parry, check. So those are the things that we do. But if some of it you've done spontaneous knife, you can recognize this right away. And it's a good basic drill. Okay, so, and then the next one we would do is parry, check, cut, parry, cut, check, parry, cut, check, parry, cut, parry, check, I'm sorry. parry, cut, parry, check. You can gradually change it. But basically, be aware that what you're trying to teach the student is to pick up these subconscious motions of the right foot coming forward, the right hand motioning toward them, the shoulder basically moving so that they can pick that up. Because remember that the thrusting motion is more difficult to pick up or take into account right in the beginning. Okay, so just make sure that you understand what you're doing and how you're going to gradually evolve your student into becoming a good fighter or a good warrior or a good self-defense person who can defend himself. If you get too fast, if you go too fast for them, then it becomes frustrating. Okay, so go ahead, and, since you've already done it, Kadena, before, go ahead and do that thrusting motion. And you'll find that thrusting motion is easier to parry than it is to block with thrust. And remember, so it's easier to parry a thrusting motion as opposed to using a blocking motion. Okay? And again, you'll see elements of this stuff in the spontaneous knife as well as in the reactive knife system that was specifically developed for law enforcement and martial artists. I mean, whether we do the block or we do the parry. Block, cut, parry, check, or parry, cut, parry, check. Okay? There's another one that we do as well, which is more advanced and more sophisticated. Okay? But since we're doing Kadena de Mano, we'll go ahead and do this particular drill too as well. When we come back, we can do an upward cut, parry down, redirect, check. Okay? Again, which would be an upward cut, parry down, and you're going to cover it here. Right? And then come around here, check. So up, here, parry down, parry check. Okay? I can do an arcing motion or I can do a linear motion. Okay? It doesn't really matter. Cutting up. Now as I drive this down, I'm not going to do this because then I open up my center line. So I'm going to cover here and come back around and then parry and then check. Again, so up and this goes across. Yeah. And parry, check. There. Here, here, here. I keep doing it last time.
You did.
Okay.
Here is cheating.
Well, at least you got a new one, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is an upward motion here, coming across. Now, some advocates do this right away. I don't advocate it because it's a little more sophisticated to do. Okay, so that's why I don't do it with beginners, because it's much more difficult. Technically, actually, in reality, you should probably have a little bit of footwork so that you change your footwork like this. That's the way it should be done in reality, so that what we do is we cut here, we displace the target, then displace the target again, come back here, and then we step forward. Okay. So the target is here, blocking here, but you can actually do it here just by stepping back and forth if you want. So start here, and here, and then attack. So what is the purpose of this is because if our hand is here, we have an option of going up and over. But if our hand happens to be down here, we have one motion that comes up like that and comes back over like so. Okay? So whatever we do, this concept is a one-for-one motion in the first movement, because your attack is always one motion, right? When somebody's either punching you or stabbing you, there's no two motions to it. It's boom. It's right there, one motion going. If he's here, he's going one motion. You cannot match two motions against one motion in physical combat. There's no way you can do it. Unless you're twice as fast as that person. Okay? So the first motion that you do in an attack has to match. If he's doing one motion, you've got to do one motion. You can't do two motions. And that's why when I see people doing this, give me a number one. When I see people doing that, I go, they ain't going to make it. Okay? Because they're doing two motions. They're going 1, 2. Okay? You won't make it. You've got to go 1 for 1. 1 for 1. You've got to go. Unless you're twice as fast as this person, you'll never make it. Okay? And you can do simultaneous motions, which is still one motion. Right? I can do a simultaneous motion, 1 for 1, and then check, and then parry and stuff after I've gotten my defense. But you cannot do two motions on the first motion to defend yourself. So basically, that's why this is 1 for 1 again. So when I'm here, I draw up and then cover, come around. Okay, but it's still one motion. even though I'm using more than one limb. Okay, here, coming across, this is the drill that we're doing now. Okay, now this is more sophisticated. I would not teach this. If you're going to teach somebody in law enforcement and you only got 6 hours to teach them, I would not teach them this drill. Okay, and the reason why I wouldn't teach them is it's too easy for them to do this. And get their stomach cut open if you're talking about law enforcement stuff. Okay, if you're talking about somebody who's willing to put time in to learn this, then yeah, go ahead and teach them. Because you got to displace the target as you go them around, and then displace the target again later on as they get that motion. Okay, so that's something a little more sophisticated than we want most law enforcement people to get involved in, unless they want to become very competent and get these kinds of motions. Probably presented this particular drill this way, with an inverted grip, where they'll do this, right? Hook it, come around, cut. This way. You've probably seen it this way, okay? But I don't teach it that way because you should be able to use your tool in a natural manner as opposed to an unnatural manner. Why do I call this unnatural? This tool was made to do this, you know, in everyday life. I've never seen anybody use a tool like this, very rarely. So what I try to do is teach people how to use a tool naturally as opposed to unnaturally. Okay, in terms of then you can go with a natural way of doing it. But it does feel better, actually, when you're using an inverted grip. And when you're here, again, there. And you'll notice the only thing that I change is that I don't do this. See, because I can't. It's there. Because I can't do the blocking thing. So that's why I don't teach that one first. Because I eliminate this secondary defense with this. So basically, when I'm here, I have to clear. And that's the reason why I don't teach that one first, because then you're already developing bad habits. So the reason why I teach the secondary is that they've got to have a footwork in now. They've got to be able to displace and then replace when they're there. Here, cut, replace. And replace here. Okay, so once you try that one with the inverted grip. This is called a male triangle, and I'm replacing at the apex. Apex of the triangle, I'm replacing. So as the attack comes, I'm here, cut, replace, trap, replace, around. Attack, forward with the right foot. Okay, replace, here. This is just a footwork drill. It has nothing to do with what you're going to do in actual combat, but we need to have good footwork so that it's already inbuilt. Looks a lot of unnecessary motions right now, basically when you're doing it. But it's like any foundation. A lot of things go into a foundation that you may not do in actual combat, but the philosophy is if you need it, it's there, okay? If you don't practice it and you need it, it won't be there, okay? So basically, it's a triangle, that's a triangle. Try doing that, and I'll give you some really good triangle footwork drills. And this is called a male triangle. So there's all guys, you know, it's like a dick squirting out in front of you, so it's male.
I'll edit that out of what I
Very
send to
valid,
you.
right? Female is just the opposite, woman with legs open, right? Right, so that's a female triangle. That's the difference. That's all you have to remember. Woman with her leg open, female triangle. Male triangle. Going forward, thrusting forward. Okay, there's two ways to do these footworks in both cases. We can replace at the apex with a male triangle, which I was showing you in this drill. You can also replace at the base. Now, there's a very unrhythmic way of doing it, which is the way I'm doing it, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Actually, it's 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we replace at the base same way. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's very unrhythmic, okay, and it doesn't give you any sense of lightness to your drill, okay? And that's basically one way to learn it, okay? And that's the same way with if we do the female triangle, which is, again, the same way we can go in here. So we can go here and we place at the base, okay? Same way. Or, again, we can replace at the apex. We can do it either way, okay? Using the female triangle or the male triangle, okay? It just gives you a concept of your footwork. Now, if you want to get a little more advanced, there's a rhythmic way of doing it. We have to add one more step. So we're going to go, if we do at the apex, we do a half step there. So, up, displace your weight, take a half step. In other words, I replace my carry. This is more rhythmic. It's almost like boxing. It makes you stop being so solid. Stop stepping so hard on the ground. You want to be light. If you want to learn how to be light on your feet, you got to remember to bring this up, almost like dancing, right? See, now I made too long of a step. It's hard for me to do this one. Okay, so you got to keep kind of a light way. You can also do it the other way when you were replacing at the back here. Okay. Okay, so those are different ways of doing it. One's a little more advanced, one's a little more... There's 3 steps as opposed to 2 steps. The first way is 2 steps, which was either way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It doesn't matter how you count it. 1, 2, 1, 2. The other one is 1, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if we do it at the front, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And they even ritualize. Some of them do it. It's called a chicken step. They do it this way. They rock back and forth, which is too silly for me, so I won't do it that way. Okay. And again, if we do it at the base of the female triangle, again, when we're doing the female triangle, we can again do the same thing. Okay, we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What it teaches you, for us guys that are real heavy, teaches us to be lightweight on our feet, learn how to bounce, be a little bit quicker. Why is that? You got to be real quick when you're working with a blade. If you're fighting somebody that's got a 20-inch blade that's razor sharp, you want to be able to scramble those feet real quick. You don't want to be planted on the ground saying, I'm going to stop anything that's going to come at me. Well, you might think you can stop. There has been in history, actually written documentation, right, where a Filipino Moro Barrow has cut through a Springfield rifle. Okay, just go bang, like that, and they'll cut it. It's like that. And if you think you can, there's actual documentation where they guys do a bayonet thrust and more goes wham, and just cut the Springfield rifle and down and come back.